everyone, it's Imogen and welcome back to Colouring Kids. I hope you're doing well. In today's video I'm very excited to be participating in the summer Halloween colour along or colouring marathon, I guess, that's happening over the next week, which is being hosted by Jen from Reading with Pugs. I am so excited to be joining in. She asked people who make videos a couple of weeks ago on Instagram if anyone would be interested in making a video or live streaming over the days, and I really wanted to get involved, and I was so pleased that she got back to me and said that I could. So this event is running from the 29th of July until the 5th of August, I believe. This video will be going up on the 31st, and yeah, I'm probably going to be doing some hopefully as many kind of autumnal and Halloween related pictures as I can. I'm not sure how many I will actually get round to because we are away in that week, and also it's kind of that crossover between when I would film my completed pages and when I wouldn't. So obviously I'll pick what pages I want to do for August at the end of July, so I'll make sure to hopefully have a picture put aside that I can at least start, and if I don't finish them that's fine, just colour them when it actually comes around to Halloween. So I never get around to enough Halloween pictures, so I'm really excited to be doing this. And Jen, of course, has been one of the channels that I've followed for the longest time. I think she was one of the first channels that I ever found on YouTube. I'm pretty sure it was her and Peter Hewitt. So this is really special for me, and the fact that she she kind of knows me now, which is really really cool. So I thought what I would start off by doing, I'm going to do this in sections, since I can't do a live stream, which is what ideally I would have done, but because we're away I can't really live stream when we're away. I thought for this video I would still include what I would do on a live stream. So since it's Halloween autumnal related things, I thought I would share some of my favourite pictures that I've done for that season, and then I'm going to be finishing a whip on camera and adding embellishments, because that's one of my favourite things that I love to do on my pictures. Once I've finished all the pencil work or whatever medium I'm using, I really enjoy adding shine and sparkle with pens and stuff, so I'll be doing that, and then most likely I will start a new whip on camera as well. So a few different things that I'm looking forward to doing. So yeah, the first thing I'm going to do is just share a few of my favourite whips. So as I said, I don't get around to enough Halloween pictures, at least. I do quite a few of autumnal ones, but I am a seasonal colourist, so for me an event like this is actually really great because it does allow me to colour out of my comfort zone a bit, which I really like. So first picture I was going to share was more of an autumnal picture, just to, I guess, give some inspiration for mushrooms, because I did this last year, I believe in September, so I tried to make it as realistic as I could. There were so many mushrooms in the back, there are all of the names of them, but actually some of them were quite hard to match up, so I think I've done an okay job, but it's really fun to do, and I used Arteza pencils, and I just love autumnal colour palettes like this. I mean, when I colour things like that, my favourite greens are like these olive greens, which I really like, and again, I don't use oranges enough either, so it's a really good opportunity to use those colours. So there are definitely, I mean, this is the Woodland Wild Book by Millie Marotta, so there's definitely going to be some woodland stuff in here, not necessarily Halloween, but definitely autumn. So there's that one. I did a Halloween page a couple of years ago in Romantic Country by Eri. Now I think as her books went along, she did more and more Halloween pictures. I think there's only a couple in this one, maybe even just the one. I know there's more in the second one, definitely, but yeah, maybe there's only the one in this. I do find that with illustrators though, they tend to add more and more as they make more books. So this was the one that I did, and as I said, I did it a couple of years ago. I used Prismacolor pencils. My style has changed quite a lot since this picture, I feel. The background I had a lot of fun doing. I used the, what are they called? They are the Jane Davenport shimmering like pearlescent pastels. I can't remember the exact name for them, but they were really fun to use, and I like how it turned out. And yeah, I used Prismacolor, as I said, lots of glitter on there as well. So that's a true kind of Halloween picture, which was fun to do. It's transferring over to the other page, but that doesn't matter. Then I have probably my favourite page that I've done that's Halloween related, and my favourite in this book as well. Lately I haven't really been feeling Clara's books, just because I've been focusing on the postcards, which you'll see in a second. But I did this May 2020, so it was just the start of lockdown, and actually this was for a hashtag that Effie hosted, which was also similar to this, doing a Halloween page in May. So it was really fun to do this then as well. And for the majority of it, I did stick to sort of what the Halloween colours would be, you know, doing the black hat for the witch and the cats and things like that. But I do feel like I still managed to get in some of my signature style with doing pastel colours for the background, which I really liked doing. And overall, I love that background, and I have sort of recreated it with different colours and things on other pages. And of course doing the apples and things like that, and there are some really cute references and Halloween things with the bats and the ghosts and stuff. So it was such fun to colour. I've definitely done one more Halloween picture in here. Where is it? I think it might be before it. Yeah. It was this one. The only thing I do feel with like my earlier pictures is that my backgrounds are never sort of blended in as much, because you can kind of tell where the darker bit ends and the lighter bit starts, which is something that I've been trying to improve upon. I think it's because I didn't choose enough transitional colours, but I was really pleased with that, and I think it's inspired by Baba Yaga's like chicken house legend, which was really cool. And I think they're the only Halloween pictures I've done. There are loads in here. Or there are lots of autumnal pages in here. And also, if you're struggling to find pictures for this, you know, there are loads of books out there that are just specifically Halloween. But also within books like this that are seasonal, there are always going to be the odd Halloween page. So it's definitely worth having a look. I know Maria Choll's books, she started off not really including the seasons, and then she's definitely added more and more as her books have come out. Same with Clara Markova. So there are lots of pages out there. And then the last ones I would like to share with you are from I Believe in Fairies, also by Clara Markova. Now, I think I've done two. So this one was from last year. Was it last year? No, it wasn't. No, it was almost 2 years ago. I keep thinking this only came out last year, but it didn't, because Clara didn't come out with a new book the autumn we've just had. Well, not really just had, it has almost been a year, but this was 2020, that's right. This was with Holbein pencils and lots of shimmer. Again, really enjoyed this one. Felt like my transition for the background worked a little better, and I had just got some fine tech paints, so I was trying them out for the sweets and the, I guess, this popping candy on top of the toffee apple on the fire, flame. So that was really fun, and I love colouring the bat. I colour bats a lot by Clara, and I always do the same sort of colour palette with the shell pink as a highlight. Really enjoy doing that. So that was my first one, and then probably my favourite page, or one of them that I've done in these postcards, is this one, which I did last autumn, 2021. I absolutely love this. I think as well, because it's a colour palette I wouldn't usually go for, I'm really pleased with it, because I did kind of get out of my comfort zone a bit. This background I'd done in Rhys Berman's new book at the time, which was Mein Reise durch Europa. So I did the background, really liked it, wanted to recreate it. I did a tutorial as well. And I used mainly the Polycolour pencils, the Kohinoors, because I have a 24 set and I love them. And it's the portrait set, so they're really good for portraits. And also there are a few colours in there that are really good for backgrounds and things, because most of the browns that I used I think I used a few Black Widows though, but like the browns here on the dress were all from the portrait set, because I'm assuming you either use them for a darker skin tone or you could even use them for hair as well. So it was really good experimenting with those and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that's one of my favourites, and as far as Halloween pictures go, it's probably one of my favourites that I've done as well. So yeah, they were the pages that I wanted to share with you, and I am going to be finishing off, which probably won't take that long, a whip from Mein Herbst Spaziergang by Ruta Berman. As you know, if you've been watching my channel recently, I'm really into Ruta Berman's books. Absolutely love them. I've coloured so many pictures this year. Well, the majority of my pages, I should say. I haven't actually coloured that many pages this year because I don't get around to enough, but out of the pages that I've coloured the majority from her. So this is the first picture that I will be completing in this book, because I got this in the winter book and the summer book autumn of last year, and I didn't get around to working in them, so I'm really glad that I have. Now the thing I noticed about this book, which I have mentioned before, is the paper's slightly thicker, the binding's slightly different, which is the only thing that I do prefer with the other books. This doesn't have the really nice binding where the edge of the spine breaks away from the binding of the paper. It's all secure, so it does mean, like a normal book, the spine does break, whereas with the other books you don't get that. So that's the only thing, and I don't know whether this was just an older publication, but there weren't really any Halloween pages in this. This is very much an autumn book, but I did find some pages with pumpkins, which I thought was perfect, and obviously you could make this background whatever you wanted to and add your own Halloween things in, but I thought, you know, this is really the closest sort of page that would be classed as Halloween, and I really liked them. There were quite a few with pumpkins actually, but I decided to go for this one just for something a little bit more simple, and I will definitely be colouring this picture at some point. I'm going to write down the colours and I will share that in my July colour combination video, but I probably won't get around to this until Halloween time, so I might do it in September or October, just because I would quite like to do a different Halloween or autumn page in a different book for this colour along as well, but we'll see. I might decide to come back to this. Anyway, I've been using Black Widow pencils for this. The background, I added in these sorts of swirls. Now at first glance they look like vines. I made them so that you'll see when I add embellishments, they're sort of like swirling and I don't know, sort of smoke. So I'm going to add some clear Stardust Coliro paint onto them, probably a little bit of silver gel pen, white gel pen, things like that. Add some white gel pen highlights here and there, and probably a green gel pen, stuff like that. So I'm going to grab all of it and share it with you, and then I will embellish the page on camera with you. So I'll see you in a second. Okay, so I've got all the embellishments that I think I'm going to use. So my favourite gold gel pen I always use in Ruta Berman's books. This is the Jelly Roll Metallic Gold. And then I really like for a really bright silver, I do like the Uniball Signo. I do have the silver Jelly Roll as well, but I find this is a little bit more opaque and just fine if I want small dots and details. I've got the Uniball Signo Broad, which I love for more opaque, bigger areas of white, and then the Arteza 0.6, which I love for thinner, smaller areas, and it's brilliant. So they're the pens, and then these are my open stock Coliro paints. My favourite Coliro paint, which if you haven't got any, this is the one I'd recommend. This is the Stardust, which I love. I mean, you can see how much I've used of it. This is a clear glitter paint, so similar to Wink of Stella, you put it over anything you've coloured and it will still come through. The great thing about it though is that it doesn't spread. Once it's dry and it's not moving, so that's why I really like it. I thought I'd also use pistachio for the green. I was looking for a green metallic gel pen, but the metallic greens I have are very blue, sort of a turquoise green. They're not a true green, so I thought the pistachio would work well for tiny details on the leaves as well. So yeah, that's what I'm going to use. Now I think I will start off with the green just because it's over on the left side, You do need quite a lot of water for the Stardust. That's the only thing I'd say. You have to let it sit for a minute. But most of the other metallics, well, the metallics don't really have glitter in, they're more metallic, so they tend to work a little bit more instantly. Let's dry that off. So I think all I'm going to do with this is water it down slightly so it's not really opaque, because I just want it to be a slight shimmer. I do play around a lot with how I embellish my pages, just because sometimes I'm not after huge streaks of metallic paint that are going to show up a lot. Sometimes I do that. It really depends on the picture. I want it to be really subtle for this particular picture though. So I think all I'm going to do is put it over some of the areas. So I did an embellishments colour along. In fact, I've done it for 2 years now on my channel, because I just love embellishing my pages, and I pretty much embellish every page that I do in some form. It might just be white gel pen, but I do tend to put something on my pages just to jazz it up a bit. And with Rita Berman's pages, if you are new to my channel, I do sort of have a set of embellishments that I use, and then sometimes I add a couple more, but generally I stick to white gel pen, the gold Jelly Roll metallic, the Stardust, and the Jelly Roll glaze, which I'm not actually using for this particular picture because I don't really need anything glazing. I tend to use that if there's windows or wings of you know, bees and things like that. So as you can tell, I want this to be really subtle, just so that when it dries it's got a little bit of a metallic shimmer to it. Now I can already tell I'm going to have to go over this with fine liner, because it has covered the lines, because it's such a small space. I haven't quite managed to do that, but that's all right. I really enjoy the embellishment process because you're very close to completing the picture. If I've got loads of white gel pen to do on a picture, I tend to do it as I go along, because obviously that doesn't really affect the page, but I always do all my paints and stuff last. So I think that's pretty much all I'm going to do for the greens, just a little bit here and there. I'm going to put the gold on the berries. I'm not sure if they were meant to be red, but I decided to do them red. Now this gold's lovely because it's more of a bronze sort of colour. It's not as bright as the Uniball gold. So if you are after a brighter gold, I definitely recommend that one. This one is brilliant for that subtle gold, because sometimes I do like a brighter gold. If I was putting gold over this pumpkin, which I'm not actually going to embellish the pumpkin, I'm just going to embellish the top, I probably would use the brighter gold just because it would blend in more. But yeah, again, I don't feel like I want to embellish that. So I'm going to move on to the smoke wisps. I'm not really sure what I'm doing with it, to be honest. I just decided to add the background in. I did feel like it needed something and I wasn't really sure what, so I thought, hey, let's add that. See how that goes. So probably on camera you won't even be able to see me apply this because it's clear. I think I'm just going to do dots and things and see how that goes. I'm not really, this is sort of one of the things that happens sometimes. I just decide to put something on a page and think, well, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, oh well. And it's hard because sometimes when I'm starting a page and doing a page, I can envision where it's going. With this one I didn't. I knew I wanted to colour the pumpkin. I knew how I was going to colour the pumpkin. But aside from that, I wasn't really sure what to do. And sometimes that's really exciting, colouring a picture. And especially with the leaves and things, I wasn't sure how I was going to go about those, what sort of green I was going to use. And then I decided, well, I'll just make it tie in with the tiny bit of green that I've used on the top of the pumpkin. So that's what I decided to do. I will do a close-up of when this is all dry. Because at the moment, see, when it's wet, you do have to let it dry to actually be able to see the paints properly. Yeah, that's nice and subtle. So I'll move on to gel pen now. So this was sort of inspired by Frances from Colouring Frances. I used to do this a lot. Do her kind of fairy dust idea, and she did a tutorial for it years ago, and I love it. I am using different mediums to her and sort of doing it differently, but that's sort of how the idea first came about. Put a few of these stars. I like doing these stars just to break up all of the dots and things, otherwise I feel like I do a few too many sometimes. You'll probably be able to see the silver though, this is quite a bright silver. So I would love to know in the comments if you will be participating, and if so, what you're planning on colouring. I'm not sure what I'm going to move on to after this, but it's always worth looking, as I said, in books that you might not expect, because there might be the odd one or two Halloween pages. You could always turn a page that isn't a Halloween into a Halloween picture. That could be really fun. If I don't really find another one that I feel like doing, I'll probably just do the opposing page to this, because I really do like it. And also it would be a good page to take on holiday, because I've used minimal colours, so it would be ideal. But we'll see. Oh, sorry. So now I'm going to go in with the Arteza white gel pen, because it's a lot thinner, better for smaller dots and things. Oh, I've just got glitter on the page. Oh well, if it comes off, it comes off. If not, there can be a lovely sparkly shimmer on it. Okay. These are some of my favourite gel pens, and I love that this is the 0.6, because it really allows to just do lots of tiny speckles, which will hopefully make it look a lot less like vines and a lot more like a magical wisp. I guess, as I said, I wasn't really sure what I was going for with this, but now that I've started adding this, I think hopefully it'll be a lot more obvious. But that is an interesting take on it. I could have made it green instead. That would have been fun. And made them vines. But then I feel like if the background's green, then the green that's already on the page wouldn't stand out enough. I do this sort of pointillism thing quite a lot with my pages, depending on what I'm colouring. I did a tutorial for a dress that I coloured in an Airy book. Remember, I think I did it 2021, and that had so many little dots and things. My arm was so sore because there were just so many. And the thing is, it's not actually, tricky to do, obviously, because you're just doing little dots, but it's just the fact that you're lifting the pen and putting it down every time you're doing a dot. So yeah, this is turning out how I was envisioning it. So I think all I'm going to do is add some more wet gel pen onto the top of the pumpkin, just to add some highlights. I really like using white gel pen for highlights. It's probably the only thing I use, really, because I do have a white glaze that could work, and I have used it for highlights before, but my go-to is just white gel pen. You could also use white gouache and things, which I've used before, but not really in my colouring books. I've used them for bigger projects, like art projects and stuff like that. But gouache is very good. That's opaque as well. It's just I always find paint a little bit harder to get accurate. I do have some really small paint brushes though. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all the white gel pen stuff I was going to add. You can just keep adding though, that's the problem, you don't know when to stop. So yeah, I think that's sort of what I was going for. So I'm going to add some highlights onto tiny sections of the leaves, and then also up here. And what I wanted to do is just add white onto the edge of this. I guess it's like a vine sort of thing, isn't it? There we go. And also I like having a colour background because then the white gel pen stands out. So yeah, I think that is everything. So that's sort of how I go about embellishing pages, especially for Rita Berman pages, because there is sort of a set way I go about doing embellishments. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this segment of the video, and I will just bring it up a little bit closer for you, seeing as all of the glitter's now dried. And yeah, maybe over the next few days I will pick a new picture and show you colouring, show you some of the colouring that I will do for it, hopefully. So I will see you in a bit. So I thought to wrap this video up, I would share how I colour a pumpkin. Now this does depend on the pencils I'm using, of course, and the sort of colour that I want to go for. So the Rita Berman one that I did was more of a yellowed orange. This one will probably be more of a darker orange colour. I'm going to be using the book Boules de Poil by Diane Defoe. I'm not sure exactly if that's how you say it, but this is her name here. I can't remember in the last part if I'd said that I was specifically going to work in this book or whether I was just going to work on a whip that I'd started, but this is the whip that I have going on, and I'm really enjoying it, and it hasn't been taking me too long. But yeah, I've just been blending everything together, taking my time and using the Black Edition Faber-Castell pencils, which I'm really liking at the moment. So these are the colours I've got picked out. They don't have names or numbers, so I'm very much just going with the colours that I've picked. If you are wanting to follow along, then really all you'll need is a yellow, an orange yellow, a proper orange, and I've got a couple of browns as well to shade. And that's it really, and then the greys for the candle. So I'm going to zoom you in because it is quite a small pumpkin. I just thought it would be fun to do a short kind of tutorial-ish last part to the video as well. So I'm just going in with the yellowed orange, that's what I'm calling it, to put a base down. Now with my one from Rita Berman, I layered. So I did light to dark and then dark back to light, whereas with this, because of the nature of the pencils and it's quite a small area, I don't need to worry about that quite as much. But I am going to start off by doing the flame and working out the light source for that. So that's the bit that I'm going to do now. So I've got the dark orange, just a shade, And this is a simple 3-colour blend. And then I'm going to just add some of the yellow in around the flame, because this is going to be the light source. Because apart from this, the actual inner part of the pumpkin is going to be dark. Great. And I will bring it up here a bit because the light source could stretch all the way there. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do for that. And then I'm going to do the darker parts of the pumpkin now. So I'm going to base it, this is a really light ochre colour. I'm more of a, getting into the browns now. So I'm only going to base the bits that haven't been done in the yellow already. And then this is a dark brown. It's quite a neutral colour. I really like it. And it's not too dark. So I will definitely pull in the orange and the browns again for the fox when I come to colouring them. And probably the owl as well. I'll use grey and brown. I'm just going around the shadows here. And then again, simple 3-colour blend. I'm going to go in with the middle colour now. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want it to look different to the orange that we have for the front of the pumpkin. I know actually pumpkins are light inside, but if it's being lit with a candle and I'm imagining it's night time, then it's probably going to be a little bit darker, aside from the light source in the middle. So now, instead of going back in with the lightest brown hues, I'm going to go in with the orange instead. Ooh. I'll sort that out in a second. I've just got a bit of the orange with the green. Don't have a rubber to hand though, so I'll sort that out. So yeah, just using the orange to blend instead. I really like this paper. I don't know about any of you that have Hachette Heroes books like this, because all of them, I'm assuming, have the same paper. But yeah, I really like them. On this occasion, I don't actually need to use a blender pencil. I'm also just going to add the yellow in the inner part of the nose here, because that also would be affected. So that's the inside of the pumpkin. I might just go in, I've got a random Holbein here that matches the green pretty much. So I'm just going to go in and see if I can get rid of the orange. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so I'm going to do the outer edges now, which I am going to do fairly dark, but then blend it with the orange, so none of the other 2 browns will be used for this. I'll go back in with the darkest brown again. Great, so there are contrasting sections to the pumpkin now. So now I'm just going to layer with the proper orange. And then on top of this, we'll add some of the brown. But apart from that, I'm not going to do too much layering because it is such a small area. And the colours that I'm using are quite similar to each other, so we're not going to need too much. So these, because they don't have any names or numbers, it does show that as long as you have some colours that look similar to these, you'll be able to get the effect. I mean, obviously the bigger sets of pencils will have these colours no problem, but even in a 12-24 set, you should hopefully be able to find an orange, a yellow, a brown. So this could very much still be achieved if you are wanting to do it. So that's the orange. Go over with the yellow orange colour, but I don't think I will use it much because I want it to be a proper orange. Just realised I've forgotten the nose. I tend to do that with small details. Yeah, and now I will go back in and add shadows now with the browns. I'm using the darkest brown very lightly because obviously we don't want the front of the pumpkin to end up being the same colour as the behind bit, otherwise we won't get the contrast. And I think I'll just do a tiny bit with the mid brown at the top. Even with these few layers, it's working really well on this paper. Great, and then I'll leave the other brown and just start going in with the orange again. So this is definitely a different colour to what I did for the Rita Bearman one. So I know I didn't show you how I coloured that, but it will be in my July colour combinations video. And also it's just basically the same thing but just with different colours. So I would suggest, instead of the orange, this one being your main colour, you'd have the yellowed orange being your main colour. Still use the browns as shadows and the yellow to base, but it's just a different way of application. Still round about the same method. So yeah, I'm going to say that that's where I want it to be, I think. Problem is the layering, you can just keep going and going, and yeah, I'm happy with that. So I don't have a blender pencil, but I don't actually want to use a blender pencil. I think I'm just going to use, I've got Faber-Castell Ivory here, and all I'm doing is adding it on the areas where there isn't much colour, just to create some highlights and blend in that yellowed orange, and it's actually making the yellowed orange a little bit brighter, which is really nice as well. And then I will go back in with the orange to deepen up the edges. And I love colouring pumpkins, they're one of my favourite things to do on Halloween pictures, so I'm really pleased that there was one on this page so that I could do it. Great, okay. So that's my pumpkin, and I'm just going to do the little candle. So I want it to be cohesive with the rest of the picture, so I'm going to do a greyed blue. You get so many beautiful candle colours. I always do grey, so instead of just doing grey, I want to add the blue as the main colour and just use the grey for the shadow. This is an example of my very simple, just 2-colour blend. And then again, blend it with the ivory just to bring out that highlight. I love ivory, it's such a good colour. Same with buff titanium. So that is how I colour a pumpkin, or an example of how I'd colour one. I'm just going to go in with a little bit of the dark brown because I realise I do want that to be more shaded. But I really like colouring them. And sometimes I struggle with vegetables and food and fruit and stuff to colour them, but for some reason the shape of them are just perfect. I really like them. And yeah, hopefully, let me zoom you out. Once I've done the fox, everything will start to blend in a bit better. I'm thinking of doing these autumn leaves just so that, again, I can utilise the orange and brown a bit more. And I'll put the orange and brown with some red with the fox as well. But I'm really enjoying this picture, and it's a great one to use for the colour along. So thank you so much all for watching this video. I'm sorry it's been a bit bitty, but I've quite enjoyed doing that, doing a few different things for the video instead of just doing one long colouring chat. So again, thank you so much to Jen for creating this event. I've had so much fun, and I'm hoping that whilst it's going on, I can at least start another picture or possibly do one, which I can either hopefully finish then or finish when Halloween actually comes around. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thanks again to Jen, and I will see you all on my next video. Take care everyone. Bye!